What's going on, guys? Keegan here from Punisher's Paintball. I'm here with Joel. Today we are doing a comparison video of the Dye DSR Plus, the all-new gun on the market, and the Shocker amp.
If you guys like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms, and if you'd like either the amp or the DSR Plus, they can be purchased at punisherspb.com.
Alright guys, so Joel has the DSR Plus in front of him right now. I have the Shocker AMP, the advanced modular platform, or the Shocker amp.
The newest Shocker available.
Yeah. We're going to go over the cases real quick and the packaging.
Alright Keegan, DSR Plus comes in a hard case. As you can see, it catches dirt right there. You guys can see that right there. It does catch a little bit of dirt. Needless to say, it is a good protective case. You're not going to have any issues. It doesn't dent, neither does this one.
Yeah.
That one's got a fancy carbon fiber.
Yeah, it does have a fancy carbon fiber. It doesn't really collect dirt, but I will say over like a lot of time, like it does start to just wear and like almost like start to fray kind of.
Yep.
But that's over like a lot of use. I've only seen that on some like terribly taken care of RSXs.
It's got a handle.
It takes a while.
I like to point out that it does have a handle.
Joel,
I love the handle.
Joel has a thing for handles.
Okay, so here's my thing. If you want to carry your case around, you don't want to have to carry it like this.
Literally, even when the guns have handles, I carry them like this.
Okay.
Dead serious.
Whatever.
Like every time.
Okay, so maybe if it's a big deal to you to have a handle, Shocker amp has that up. Needless to say, whatever.
But
case-wise, it's going to protect.
Both got zippers on them.
Both have zippers. Both got zippers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
You missed me.
Needless to say, I think the zipper on this is probably a little bit better quality than this one, but needless to say, I've never seen either one of these cases really have any problems with the zipper.
The only thing that I'd say is like sometimes that one catches, but I think it's more due to this like coming out.
Correct.
And it'll catch, but like that's not really the zipper's fault.
Inside the case, you're going to have the UL barrel system, so 14-inch barrel system. It's just the regular UL front with the DSR Plus. You're going to get a 688 back of the core back. Slightly different, but basically same thing as the UL barrel system. It's just slightly different milling. So it does only come with one barrel, 88 back. Full Allen key set, as you can see here, which is nice. It comes with an all black barrel cover. As you can see, nothing special about that.
No marketing, like I said before.
No marketing.
That really surprises me.
For $1,000, you would think they'd at least put their emblem on it.
Yeah.
Quick startup guide, which is really nice. Keegan, I believe that should have a startup guide.
I got one of them too.
Yep. And then your warranty card with the DSR Plus. So Keegan, on that side of things, yours comes with much of the same stuff, correct?
Yep, I got nothing up here, but I do down here have the parts kit. Hopefully this has parts in it. It does. So I got parts right there, real nice. They don't give you a ton. Yasser explained it to us actually that Shocker doesn't put quite as much parts in like their full parts kits just because they're O-rings, like, I mean, even you can kind of just tell they last much longer than anyone else's.
They do.
Because of the material they're made out of. So, kind of nice knowing that, and it's not just them, like, skipping out. I got a little bit of lube here. I think it does come with more than the DSR does.
Correct. So just for those people that care, this is a 1/4 ounce of Dye Slick Lube. This is I believe a full ounce or at least half an ounce of...
I believe it's half an ounce.
The God grease.
Yeah.
It's all the same, Dow 33.
Best part, the full Allen key set. No one will ever top these.
Yep, I agree with that. Comes with the Lux as well as the Shocker amp.
It does.
Barrel?
Got the barrel right here. This barrel here is going to be the Freak XL barrel system with the all-American barrel ported front. It does come with a 687 Freak XL insert. You can buy multiple more of these. You can buy them individually for $15, or you can buy the full set of them for what is it?
125.
125.
Freak XL. Yep.
Yeah. So real nice barrel. A lot of people's favorite go-to barrel.
And then obviously the gun that you guys can see here, we got our DSR Plus in the slick Ano. so we have the DSR Plus. DSR Plus parts kit is going to be similar to what you get with the Shocker amp. One nice thing about the Shocker or the Dye DSR Plus is that all the O-rings are color coded. So if you have any questions on where the O-rings go on your bolt system, you are going to be easily identified, or it's going to be easy to identify those O-rings, which is really nice, as well as on the actual startup guide, which is a really nice feature for those of you that need to rebuild your anything to do with your bolt, or like say your regulator and all that stuff. And last thing with the Dye DSR Plus that it comes with is just a USB or micro USB port in case you need to update firmware or anything like that. So needless to say, very, very similar when it comes to what you get with both of these.
Yeah.
All right.
I would like to mention barrel cover right here.
Branded.
Branded.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the guns, Keegan.
Yeah, right here, I didn't get into mine. I have the Woodland Camo Anodized Shocker amp. These things come in at a price point of $900 for the base colors, and it kind of depends from company to company of who you get the special anodes from. However, this one right here is $1,100 for the Woodland Camo, which is probably right around where you'll find everyone else's custom anodized guns. So
yeah, so there is a nice thing with the Shocker amps is that you are able to get some custom runs of guns. Shocker is doing that. I'm sure that Dye, you'll see some custom colors as well, but for the base colors, you know, there's not really that much difference. Base colors on the Shocker amp, you're going to have, I believe, 5 base colors. It's going to be black, pewter, green, red, blue, and purple. So it's actually 6. And then with the Dye DSR Plus, I believe there's 5 base colors. 2 of those are PGA colors, meaning that they're like a custom anodized color. So the like PGA slick, yep, and the PGA copper. So
the copper's
pretty cool.
It's pretty nice.
Yep. So barrel system wise, Keegan, I'm gonna probably say between the 2 of them, I like both of them. I'm gonna say that I think that the Shocker amp takes it over the UL barrel system, simply for the fact that it's much easier to upgrade the inserts on that than to buy another back. I would assume that this back is the same thread as a UL barrel system, or UL back, so the UL tip is going to match, which is nice, but it's not going to be nearly as easy to find backs for the Dye DSR Plus as compared to the Shocker amp, which is a big thing if you're trying to paint match bore size paint. It's definitely an important thing.
Yeah,
all right,
I agree with that. I like the way that this points more than the UL barrel systems, so I'm going to also give it to the Shocker amp in terms of the barrel.
Okay. Next up, let's talk about the feed neck.
Yep.
So the DSR Plus does have a new feed neck compared to the Dye DSR. It's just basically like a nicer aluminum. I will say this: it feels super high quality in the hands and all that stuff. It has a lever feed neck, and the big thing to mention is that it still requires an Allen key to tighten up or loosen.
It does.
Keegan.
Mine actually has a thumb screw here, which is real nice. It has the locking lever on this side. Both are going to sit at about the same height. And the other thing that I would like to mention, the DSR Plus no longer is a swivel feed neck. It is now just a stationary feed neck, which I personally like more. Between the two, just for the fact that it doesn't have a thumb screw, which you may be able to find one like at your local parts store for the DSR Plus, I'm going to have to give it to the amp.
I agree with that. I think the amp takes it when it comes to the feed neck. I think the feel of this is better. I will say, and the lever on this is a little bit larger than the Shocker amp, but the fact that you can easily adjust the Shocker amp and you don't have to use a set of Allen keys is kind of a game changer. I think that even the swivel feed neck of the regular DSR, in my opinion, was nice because you could at least tighten it up and loosen it by simply taking the lever and rotating it. So okay, so feed neck goes to the Shocker amp. Let's talk about the bolt system.
Yeah. Both are going to be toolless bolt removals, quarter turning out versus buttoning out. That's a lot of lube on there.
There's a lot of lube. They come with a ton of lube from the factory. All right, so I have the Arc Plus bolt system here. Basically, they did improve a few small things from the DSR to the DSR Plus. It does have the flex face bolt system, which you can, or flex face bolt, so you can see that here. Rubber tip to that, basically. And then there's less friction O-ring. So what they are able to do to make it shoot a little bit smoother is the O-ring on the actual bolt. DSR Plus, or excuse me, the regular DSR only had one O-ring here. This only has one O-ring. The DSR Plus had two. You know, operating and all that stuff, I don't know. They both shoot really good. I think that they're both reliable bolt systems. Yeah. I think that, like, shot quality wise, I'm going to give it personally to the Shocker Amp.
Really?
Yeah, I personally just like the way the Shocker Amp shoots. I know a lot of people like the DSR Plus and how it shoots. Nothing against the DSR Plus. I just like, that's tried and true. I've yet to see this gun shoot a lot. I will say this gun is extremely quiet. Drew, the owner of this personal gun, it was using an NXL. I could hardly hear his gun when he was shooting crossfield, which was amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to give the shot to the DSR Plus. Personally, I like it more. It's a bit of a poofier shot. There's kind of more of a snappy shot.
It is.
And it's, to me, it honestly sounds like a very loud shot coming from the amp. So I'm gonna have to give it to the DSR, especially with being able to kind of somewhat like fine tune the shot with the SFR, which is something that we didn't touch on yet, but kind of goes hand in hand with the bolt. Is definitely makes shot quality wise for me go to the DSR Plus.
I think that, yeah, so the DSR Plus does have that solenoid adjustment, which we'll show here in the video, but needless to say, you can adjust kind of similar to the GO4 and other CS1 platform of guns on the Planet Clip side of things. You can adjust your shot. When we were shooting it, I didn't really see a huge difference. The other two things I'd like to point out is, well, three things technically, is efficiency is better with the Shocker Amp. So you do have that. The mechanical, well, as of right now, there's no mechanical version of this, but there is a mechanical frame that is being worked on for the DSR Plus. And the other thing is, you know, paint handling. Both these guns paint handle extremely well. You know, the DSR Plus, we did a brittle paint test. That shot really good. I've shot super brittle paint through my personal Shocker Amp. They both shoot brittle paint very well. So, like, they're both extremely comparable, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm going to give it to the amp. Keegan, I would say, you know, DSR Plus is like a phenomenal shot as well. So you can't really go wrong with either of these guns when it comes to that. And then both of them obviously have a quick release bolt system. So you can see that there. That's a twist knob, and then this you just press and push. So very nice there. All right, next thing would be the electronics. Both of these guns have an OLED screen, so you have the DSR Plus here, turns on, and you can adjust all the settings. This has audible noise. Shocker Amp doesn't. Keegan, what do you think between the two?
I'm honestly gonna have to give it to the amp on this one, because the amp, and I will stick by this forever, the amp and the rest of the Shocker family by far have the easiest programmable boards out there. You can't really beat it. I get lost sometimes trying to figure out how to change settings in the DSR or the M3s or whatever it is, but the amp, I mean, it makes it super easy. You turn it on by holding the trigger, you turn the gun on, and then everything's like in words like firing mode, this, that, and it's all there. One click to get in, to switch, hold to get into it. Overall, much easier.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Between the two of them, they're very similar. I think that the joystick, 5-way joystick on the DSR Plus is nice, but I would say that I would probably give it to the amp as well, just for the tunability factor. You're going to have very similar things when it comes to what that board actually offers. The big difference for me when we're talking about features and all that stuff is going to be the fact that the board on this is, you know, the battery. So like overall electronics wise, the features on this, you know, the 9-volt battery on this, which I guess we can talk about that right now. DSR Plus is going to be very simple to change out the battery, and the fact that it's a twist knob right here. This turns 90 degrees in one way or another. I got to figure out which way. So this turns 180 degrees. I think I said 90, didn't I? And you can access your 9-volt battery. And then it's as simple as putting that back together, twisting your knob, and to change your 9-volt. Whereas, like with that,
let me grab my Allen keys.
yeah, you're a really nice set of Allen keys, right? So that is definitely a game changer.
The other thing I would like to note before it gets overlooked is the eyes.
Yes.
The eyes on the amp, you have these 2 screws here, which compared to the XLS, they did put the screw holes, or they did make the Allen keys bigger on these, so it's nice. I know people had problems like snapping them and losing the screws and stuff. You just have a normal eye wire. It doesn't go to the actual board. It goes to the body on the board on the upper body. That way both guns can remain so that they don't have wires between frames. So you just unscrew that. Your detents and everything are there. Makes it really easy. And these detents on this gun don't have problems wearing because they are like the hard plastic spring loaded.
That's correct.
Which is really nice compared to like a Planet Eclipse rubber one.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like, that is nice. I wish that they had made it toolless. I think the big thing is like, between the battery not being toolless on the amp and then the eyes not being toolless on the amp, the thing with the DSR Plus is it does have an eye harness inside there that sits flush, and then you have the 4th gen eye pipe that is included with the DSR Plus, and the 4th gen is the newest version. It's less prone to cracking, and also is included, obviously, your detents in there. So these are, I believe, about $15 to $20 to replace this. But it's a self-cleaning feature, meaning that you shouldn't have any issues if you chop paint. I don't know if you guys saw me while Keegan was talking there, but I was wiping it off the outside of it because there was a broken ball at some point, and it never actually reached the eyes. So basically what the idea is that the plastic intervenes between the eyes so that the eyes never actually get touched, never have any issues with dirty eyes, which is very nice. I will say the amp is super simple to clean your eyes without actually having to take any of that stuff off. If you simply remove your bolt and remove your barrel and just take a swab, that's personally what I've done with my amp before a few times. I've never had any issues with it staying dirty. Like, it always works. So that's definitely a nice part of the amp. But I would say that the eye pipe on the DSR Plus is definitely a nice feature for those people that are considering between the two. You know, it's just one feature up compared to the shocker amp. Keegan, let's talk about price point and features and all that stuff. One thing I'd like to point on is the mech frame. Before we get into price, you know, the mech frame is going to be offered with both of these. It's going to be additional to either one of these. The mech frame on that is going to be 1 screw, and you also have a toolless solenoid, so it's going to be very simple to interchange. Mech frame has yet to be released for this, and it's going to be additional.
All right, guys, so we want to real quick show you the weight difference between these guns. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back real quick. Hopefully you guys can see that. If I pull it all the way back, clean the screen real quick, and it's tweaking. And I just, what'd I do? Tear. There we go. Now it's back to ounces. So it's at 0 right there. This is the amp going on. The amp comes in at,
I believe it's like 1 pound.
1 pound, 10 ounces. 1 pound, 10.8 ounces.
All right, so 1 pound, 10.8 ounces. We've got 0.3. We're gonna tear it again.
Hit it again. There we go.
And then now we're going to weigh the DSR Plus. DSR Plus comes in at
2 pounds, 0.2 ounces.
Yikes, so that's a big difference between the two when it comes to that. So definitely something else to consider between the two. Keegan, what do you think about the ergonomics just in general, now that we've touched the features and all the different bells and whistles of the guns?
I honestly think that I like the DSR Plus a bit more, which is surprising. I really liked the ergonomics of my HK RSX and how it felt in the hands. However, the amp to me something about how they redesigned it just makes it feel like it's going to slip out of my hands, like my hands are just constantly slipping off. So I really like the framing and the changes that they made to the DSR to the DSR Plus, and it now feels really good in my hands. So personally, I'm going to have to give that to the DSR Plus.
Yeah, I mean, they did extend it quite a bit from the regular DSR. So Keegan, you want to show people what they're talking about?
Yeah. So my biggest gripe with the original DSR was that right here, this gap between the foregrip and the trigger guard was extremely small. I wrapped my thumb really far in to the gun, and so I'd put my thumb in and I wouldn't even start wrapping it, and I'd be like scraping my hand across the like somewhat sharp trigger guard. So they rounded off that trigger guard, as well as brought the gun out a bit more, brought the trigger guard in a bit more, had a lot more space there, and now it feels really good. I don't have any issues catching that trigger guard or like digging my hand into it. So that was my favorite change that they made to the gun, and it feels real nice now.
Gotcha. I think overall ergonomically, I'm probably going to give it to the amp. I think the amp just points a little bit better, feels better in my hands. The only thing that I changed with my personal gun was the fact that I took this foregrip off and I actually put an Exalt foregrip. This portion was too skinny for me.
Yeah.
My biggest gripe with the DSR Plus is that this overall is shorter. I like how it feels, and I like that the Dye DSR Plus has the UL barrel system. But I will say that like, this overall feels better. It's thinner, it's lighter, but the big difference for me is when I put that Exalt foregrip on, it just feels really good in the hands. And I like the way that it points, but the UL frame and the overall thickness of the foregrip on the DSR Plus makes it difficult, but for me personally, I'm just going to pick the shocker amp when it comes to ergonomics. All right, Keegan, so now that we've talked about all the different features with both of these markers, which one are you going to pick? If you just had an overall pick, if you had, you know, either somewhere in that $1,000 to $1,100 to spend on a marker, which one of these two are you going to pick and why?
I actually think that I would pick the DSR Plus personally. It just feels better in my hands. I don't feel like it's slipping out of my hands. The shot feels much better to me. It's got some of those extra features like the toolless battery removal. Also, one thing that we didn't touch on, I actually really like the trigger that's on the DSR Plus, and I'm not really a fan of the new trigger that's on the amps. That's why I choose it. I definitely swap out the barrel, but like if I could take the barrel off of that and put it on this, I'd take this. But I'm still going to take this even though I can't.
Okay, that's fair. For me, I'm picking the shocker amp. So it's funny that we started this review. I had the DSR Plus in my hands. You had the amp in your hands. I personally like the amp. On a personal level, I like Shocker as a company. I like Dye guns. I shot the M3 Plus for a while. The barrel's better. The amp is more efficient. They both paint handle extremely well, but there's certain features on this. The only big thing for me is that, and I like the trigger on this one a little bit more. My big thing is with the DSR Plus, the trigger frame seems really small to me. So like my hands end up hitting the trigger frame when I'm walking the trigger, so I do notice that. But needless to say, I like the feel of this gun more. I like how easy it is to convert over to mech. I like the fact that the base colors is $100 cheaper. I like the fact that this gun is, I think I already said this, but it's more efficient. It's easier to switch over to mech. And just overall, for those reasons, it's going to override the extra features that DSR Plus has. I think that Shocker kind of shot themselves in the foot when they didn't make this gun toolless for the battery and the eyes, but I think that the reason they did that was to leave those features exclusive to the TM40 for good reason. But overall, I'm still picking this because of just the shot. I think that if you're a player that's more worried about how the gun shoots and how the gun operates and how easy it is to switch between mechanical and electronic, you're going to probably pick the amp. For me personally, I think that this has better features. I also think that a lot of people like the shot of the DSR Plus. I'm just not crazy on it. I like how the M3 Plus shoots more, and I like how old Dye guns shoot more. All right, so there you guys have it. That is the review between the Shocker Amp and the DSR Plus. Keegan picked the DSR Plus. I picked the Shocker Amp. Both of these guns are great guns, and both of these guns are available at punishersbb.com. So if you are having trouble deciding, hopefully this helped you guys a little bit. And stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel for more comparison videos. We'll see you guys next time.